The most dangerous business podcast in the world. Entrepreneurs and ambitious people, if you want to build a powerful, profitable, impactful business, if you want to study and fall in love with the process, if you want to acquire the skills, habits, and determination you need to level up in business and in life, that's fantastic because I'm working on the same thing. This is the Game of Grow movement. We are back. Welcome back to Game of Grow, episode number 23. The Michael Jeffrey Jordan. Shout out to his birthplace, Brooklyn, New York. Flatbush, my home. Shout out to Biggie Smalls. Episode number 23. The Michael Jeffrey Jordan episode of the most dangerous business podcast in the world. It doesn't matter where you start or where you are right now. Are you willing to take the challenge and grow? All right. So as I announced last week, tomorrow evening will be our next iteration of the monthly, yes, now monthly, App Moguls Masterclass. So if you want to learn how you can create and monetize your app or a collection of apps, even as a newbie, sign up at appmagic.co/liveclass. We will link those links up for you in the show notes. Also, as I announced last week, we're on the road to 1 million together. So thank you for joining me on this journey of impact. Color Noir app has surpassed 15,000 downloads on iOS alone. Google Play is alive and it's underway. So clearly 100,000 downloads is just a matter of time. It's inevitable. But we need to 10x that at a minimum and have as much impact as we can have along the way. So on today's show, I thought that we could discuss the viral phenomenon known as FaceApp. FaceApp is kind of a trip, right? And if you've been anywhere on social media during the last couple of weeks, I think you know what I'm talking about. If not, you can Google it. But essentially, FaceApp, it's an app for iOS and Android. It uses augmented reality filters to make people's faces appear 50 years older, 20 years younger, switch your hair color, give you a mustache, all kinds of stuff. Whole bunch of different effects. People love it. Now, there's a major reason that I am not into FaceApp and haven't used the app, but that reason is probably not the reason that you're thinking of right now. Now, you may have heard that FaceApp is produced by a Russian developer and that they have a very authoritarian style privacy policy that grants the developer lifelong ownership over your images, data, etc. And this is true. And you may have thought to yourself about Cambridge Analytica, that incident not too long ago. You may have thought about the fact that that was facilitated by data collected via Facebook quizzes. Maybe you thought to yourself, hey, didn't the Russian government declare information warfare against the United States? And doesn't the Russian government have a lot of control over what companies within Russia do? Maybe you thought that. Or maybe you heard all of that and you went the other way and said, hey, you know, the US, the UK, China, Russia, and or others, they've already collected all the data there is to collect. They have all my data already. They have everybody else's data several times over just by the virtue of us using the internet, Facebook, Instagram, whatever the case may be. So I'm not too worried about this FaceApp thing. And it looks kind of fun, so I don't care. Either one, whatever. I don't know what you heard. I don't know what you thought about it. And tell you the truth, I found out about all that after the fact. And yeah, I found it off-putting, but that's not the reason I decided not to use FaceApp. Rather, my reasoning was just that when too many people start doing something at the same time because everybody's doing it, my first reaction is usually, I don't want to do that. And this happens almost all the time. Back in the day, if you sent me a chain letter, even with all the grave consequences for not passing on the chain letter, you could almost guarantee that I was not going to send it to another soul. And in fact, you could put that in the bank. In middle school, too many people jumped on the X-Files bandwagon, too many for my liking. And so I wasn't watching X-Files at all until down the road when it started getting into syndication. I checked out some of the episodes. It wasn't too bad. When Facebook first came out in college, people would paste these trucks on each other's Facebook walls. These trucks, they were made completely out of text characters. You had to pass it on, or else, bad love life for 7 years or something. The trucks are popular. And I am very proud to say I did not forward one single truck. So this is just kind of me. It's been me for a long time. It's a personality quirk, but I don't care. I just don't like to follow a trend for the sake of following. If I don't feel like it brings me value in some way, or if I don't enjoy it, rather, if I do feel like it brings me value in some way, or if I enjoy it, I'll go ahead and join the trend. But I don't like the idea of blind following, and that's just me. So you can see why when these face apps started popping up everywhere in the thousands, even before I found out that 150 million of you guys and counting had donated their pictures and information to the developer, I just was not too keen to be a part of the FaceApp craze. But I have to say, after thinking some more about it, I was wrong. Not that I need to turn over my data to this random developer, but it was wrong for me to say there was no value for me here. Because even if I saw no value as a consumer of the product, which I didn't, not for me personally, maybe for you, but not for me. As entrepreneurs with big goals, we should always be thinking as producers. And I'm an entrepreneur with big goals. And it's one of my core beliefs that the more you can increase your ratio of production compared to consumption, the better results you'll have, the more money you'll make, the more impact you'll have, the more in control you'll feel. So as people want to be producers, we should study and take note of other producers when they execute successfully. And then we should see what we could learn from that execution. And we should also take note of how people are consuming and what we can learn from that. All right, cool? So clearly with FaceApp, whatever you think about FaceApp, if they were able to get 150 million of you guys to not only download it, but become deeply engaged, share it all over the internet, and hand over their photos and data, clearly they understand something that we can all learn from. So during the course of business, I do a lot of self-directed learning. I'm always analyzing apps. I'm always breaking them down. I often do this for my students in App Moguls as well. So today, I want to quickly break down FaceApp. We're going to do this together and what they're doing and see what it is that we can learn. Now, I'm not going to download the app and put it on any of my devices just because I don't want to. You can if you want to. I don't care. But we can still analyze and learn a lot even without doing that. So I'm going to show you a couple of free tools that I like to use, and you get to see a little of my approach and how I break it down, how I do it. And no matter what the business is, you always got to do the research, and it's going to be important. So let's get into it. I mean, first and foremost, an important thing to take note of here is the viral marketing aspect, right? Even without going into the tools, without diving into the app details, clearly a big deal about FaceApp was that it went viral. People were sharing it like crazy. And so how did this happen? Now, if I were to really go in depth into this, I'll run this through a couple filters. So one book I would take a look at is Hooked by Nir Eyal. And like one thing that jumps out at me in terms of viral marketing and looking through the lens of Hooked is triggers. So when you send the FaceApp images themselves, those serve as an external trigger that get other people to then say, hey, what was that? And download the app as well. And then another thing looking through this lens of Hooked is just the fact that the way they used the AR technology was remarkable. We really haven't seen something just like this before. Well, there have been apps that have turned people old and done different filters and different effects, but this is probably one of the most advanced applications that we've seen on a general consumer device. So just that whole wow factor is something that definitely got people to share it over and over. So there's more and more things that we go to as far as the Hooked framework. I would also take a look at Contagious by Jonah Berger. Very cool book as well. And I would look through this entire app using both of those frameworks and just applying it the way we could. Now, let's jump into some tools. Let me share my screen. For those of you listening on the podcast, you can't see it right now, but I will drop the link so that if you want to watch what I'm doing, you'll be able to do that. So just bear with me one moment here. All right, cool. We are back. We are back. So um, here we go. So Sensor Tower. No, I want to start out. We're going to look through a couple of tools, Sensor Tower and App Annie. And they both have free versions. At App Annie, you'll have to sign up for a free account. Now, you know what, matter of fact, let's jump into the App Store first. I think that's the place we want to start. So on the App Store, pull that up. I'm going to have to do a new share. Bear with me, my people. This is live, full effect. Oh, here we go. All right, cool. We are back. So I'm over here. I'm pulling up the App Store, and then we're going to go ahead and find FaceApp. And you know what? Matter of fact, let's go through the charts because I want you to see this here. So we're scrolling. We're going to the top free apps, and you can see right here on iOS, FaceApp is actually #1. So despite all the privacy concerns, the privacy policy potential violations, whatever, you guys are still downloading it. It's still at #1. When we go into the listing itself, one of the first things I always like to look at, you see here the icon. The icon, they've kind of shaped it like it's reminiscent of the blank profile image on Facebook, but they've used very vibrant colors. So half of it is a vibrant gradient blue. Half of it is a vibrant kind of thermal gradient red. And it really pops out. They've done a really good job with the icon. You can see that they're getting tons and tons of ratings and reviews. Part of that is the viral nature. I would imagine they're probably prompting within the app to make sure that people are rating and reviewing. I haven't downloaded the app, so I can't verify that, but that probably is the case. Now you see in their very first screenshot slot, they've posted a preview video. It's showing off the features of the app. You can very clearly see they're showing BAM, you know, some of the things that would jump out and just give you that wow factor. So they show you can make the guy old, you can put glasses on him, you can turn him young. Here's the woman, bam, you can change her makeup, you can change her hair, all of that stuff. So it's just really showing you, oh, boom, she turned blonde from brown hair. Now she has sunglasses. So it's just showing you the different features that are going to get people excited, going to get people to download and get people to share. Then these screenshots are very much achieving the same kind of objective as well. So add magic to your selfie. They're using text to just tell you what the screenshot is showing you. Change your style. You see the woman changes from no bang to bang. Let them smile. Boom, the app has put a smile onto this lady's face where there was no smile. Meet your future self. You see the classic turning you 30 years into the future and look younger. So they're turning somebody maybe 10, 15, 20 years younger. Then we can scroll down, we see the description. So generally people don't read too much of the description. Something to note here is that they are monetizing with a subscription. Since iOS introduced subscriptions a couple years ago, they've become immensely popular. It's one of the most effective ways to monetize an app nowadays. What else? We want to take note. So they have a very high rating and review score. So people are enjoying this app, 4.7 out of 5, 856,000 ratings. So they're doing quite a good job here. So those are some of the main things that I want to look at. Last thing I'll say here is that they've actually chosen to promote their subscription. So that means that when people search for it in the App Store, this will also pop up in addition to the name of their app. I guess we can go more into that later at another time. All right, so next thing I want to look at now. So let's go ahead into the tools. We're going to take a look at a couple more things. So boom, here we go. So here we are in App Annie. And the first thing I want to do, again, we can go to the top charts. course, it's going to take a while to load the data. But again, what we're going to see, so we want to take a look once it loads up. We're going to see where it's ranking in the top free apps, where it's ranking in the top grossing apps. So a little bit of a discrepancy here. So clearly this data has been taken at different times. But here we see FaceApp at number 3 in the free apps on iOS, right? And we also want to look at grossing to see, grossing measures how much money they are making. So in terms of grossing, I checked this out a little bit before. So it's also ranking very high. The subscriptions have been effective, not quite as high as the download mark, but here we are. We see it at number 45. So they are doing quite well there. And I also checked on Google Play earlier, and Google Play similar results. You'll see they are ranking at number 1 overall in terms of downloads. And since it's taking a long time to load, yeah, we can skip over that. But it's number 1 overall in terms of downloads. It's about number 53 in terms of grossing. Okay, I can show you right here. So here we go. Downloads, and then whoop, scroll. Sorry for you guys listening. So number 53 right there. So they are making quite a bit. So there are a few things that we want to look at. Let me take it back to iOS, because that's normally where I like to investigate first, just because in terms of monetization potential, that tends to be the strongest. All right, here we go. So we are looking at the first thing we want to do. We've already looked at the listing. So it's always important to, we want to look at, we've looked at where it ranks, but we want to see, is that ranking consistent? So I like to go into the rank history. And what we're looking for, we want to make sure, well, we want to see, is the app that we're looking at, is it a flash in the pan, or has this been consistent over time? How has this been ranking? How's it behaved? So what we can see here is that, okay, this app, let me zoom out. So right now it's showing me June 24th through 2019 through July 23rd, 2019. We can see it's ranked high, but it really shot up over here starting on July 10th. And by July 12th, it was at number 4 in photo and video and number 16 overall. And since then, it's really been at the top. It just stayed at the top. So something happened over there that brought it to the top. And how long has this app actually been around? I think it's been around a little while. So, okay, we zoom out and we can see, yeah, this app has been around since January of 2017. And it's always done fairly well. Then in terms of the grossing ranking, all right, yeah, they've also performed well. It started around, so that they were not ranking high in grossing up until April of 2017. So I would imagine that something changed there. They probably launched their subscription at that point. Then ever since then, you can see that they were testing. Then in January or February of 2018, it seems like they really got it. And ever since then, there's been consistent performance, and they've really been bringing in that dough. Now, I want to go over real quick to Sensor Tower, and we're going to look at FaceApp. So it's popping up right here on iOS. And according to their estimation, FaceApp has 400,000 downloads in June of 2019, and they've made $300,000 in the same month. So these are just estimates. We don't know, you know, they're not for sure things, but directionally it tells you that this app is getting downloads quite well and monetizing quite well. It kind of matches up with what we saw in the charts. Now let's look at it on Google Play. FaceApp. All right. Now we can see on Google Play it had quite a bit more downloads, 2 million compared to 400,000 that we saw on iOS, and it's done $200,000 in revenue. So not too bad. You add that all up, it's about 500,000 in revenue and 2.4 million downloads just in the month of June. So pretty good. Now the next piece that I would take a look at is I would come over. So we've talked about downloads, we've talked about monetization. I always like to take a look at the reviews as well to see. We're not going to dive too deeply into that right now, but this would be part of the analysis. The point here is to see what are people actually saying about this app. You know, what are the strong points? What are the weak points? You know what? Actually, yeah, we're not going to go into detail, but you can see it on my screen. This tool is very useful for that. You can do different things like you can rank it by the 1 star, so you can see some of the people are saying it's misleading. It forced a $7.99 payment. Some of the people are saying they love it. Some people are saying be careful. So yeah, there'd be quite a bit to mine for in these reviews right here. And one thing that's really interesting is that of the people, whoops, lost my screen for a second. Of the people, so there've been just today, it's received 22,506 reviews. Of all the people who have actually left a review, the average rating is 2.4. And I told you before that the average rating of the app is 4.7. So that would definitely be something that I would look into and try to figure out why that was happening. But we're not going to do that right now. Now, again, I mentioned we would look at ratings as well. So in terms of ratings, we can see that the rating, okay, we're seeing 4.8 in the United States. We're seeing 4.7 in the United Kingdom. So the overall rating is quite a bit higher. So we would want to look into why that is. And yeah, guys, that's kind of how I like to break down how I like to break down the apps, how I like to do my research. So that is about all I have. So point of today's episode is that whatever you think about FaceApp, we want to think like producers, and we want to learn from other producers, and we want to learn how people are consuming the products that are doing very, very well. So hope you guys enjoyed that episode. And if you did, subscribe, rate, review, tell a friend, leave a review like my man El Mishkis did here. He says, this is the 5-star review of the week. He says, inspiring podcasts. Moyo is not only an inspirational speaker, but also a true entrepreneur. His podcast is super helpful for my own entrepreneurial journey, and I highly recommend it to anyone building a mobile company. Liana, I appreciate it, my man. I can't wait to hear more about that journey. So let's make that thing happen. Let's make it pop. And as I mentioned, if you guys enjoyed, subscribe, rate, review, tell a friend to tell a friend, and help me to help you. And the question of the week, you already know. How can I help? I want to know. You guys aren't taking this seriously. Hit me up. Let me know how I can help you. Hit me up in the Game and Grow community on Facebook. Let me know. And with that, guys, I'll see you guys back here real soon on the Game of Grow podcast. It doesn't matter where you start or where you are right now. Are you willing to take that challenge and grow? DJ, drop that beat and take us out. Thank you for tuning in to the Game of Grow movement. If you'd like to hear more, head to gameofgrow.com to sign up for my weekly updates about my own journey as I create the powerful, profitable, and impactful business of my dreams. And I want to hear about your journey as well. And if you want to connect on social media, I'm at Game of Grow on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. On LinkedIn, just search for my name. Don't forget to join us in the Game of Grow community, which you can search for on Facebook. And if you love the show, the biggest way you can help is to subscribe, rate, and review, and then find a like-minded friend you can help to do the same. Thank you so much, and I'll talk to you soon.